Hey, we're streaming live on YouTube. Welcome everybody to the party. Welcome to the stream. Super excited to have everyone here as always. Just gonna make sure we got all the audio connections set up. That's awesome. How's everyone doing today? Of course, we got a great run on the markets at the moment, which is gonna be part of what we're talking about today. But really today I want to focus on a bit on the markets to start off with, but then from that we're actually going to roll into talking about the environment. It was Earth Day the other day, so that's pretty cool. And so we're going to actually be talking a little bit about how Bitcoin and the environment can really come together and, make a bit of a difference. And I think that's pretty cool and something to think about. Let's go make sure we got the chat going okay here. We're going to have to get that. Hey, Mr. Halazani's in the house. All right. Welcome to the party, everybody. So, Bitcoin, $8,818. It keeps trying to get up to $9,000, but we just haven't quite made it yet, guys. But we are moving in that direction, so definitely keep an eye out for it. It is going to happen one of these days, very, very soon. There is so much green in the market. It's hard to know what to talk about, guys. It's craziness. That's what's going on. Whoa, welcome to the chat, everybody. Bitcoin nears $9,000 as crypto buy orders compose 92% of the market. That is some pretty massive stuff right there, guys. Wow. And this is, of course, a lot of people are predicting we might see the kind of bull runs that we've seen in the past, of course. I'm very much in that category. We are going to definitely be seeing that situation coming into crypto. Ranger Cove 175, you never give me a shout out, question mark. Shout out to you, my friend. In fact, shout out to everybody in the house. I love all you guys. Thanks for coming out, everybody, to join the party. Kev and Dylan, welcome, everybody. Spencer, what's going on, man? Nice to see you here, as always. Now, this is very encouraging at the moment to see where the market's been going and the kind of money that's been coming back in. And it's really interesting to see the psychological situation that has been happening with people. Because when the markets were down, everyone's going, oh gosh, I got to get rid of all my crypto assets, got to sell everything, holding's too hard, and all these different things. But the funny thing is that a lot of that same kind of voice was happening back in December, January, saying, gosh, if only I could have bought Bitcoin when it was $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. Well, there was the chance. In fact, it's still a good time to get in. This is the thing to keep in mind. You look at all the predictions, look at all the big money, all the smart money behind cryptocurrencies, and you kind of realize, wow, there's still some massive potential for cryptocurrencies moving forward. Caleb says, understanding human psychology is key to understanding this market. Absolutely. And that's, of course, where technical analysis comes in, because it's kind of like a mathematical representation of, human sentiment, if you will, which is pretty interesting. But the psychology of cryptocurrency trading, and really just trading in general, is just crazy. But right now, we are seeing a lot of green, which is super excited. Spencer says, I'm always excited about the market. Me too. It's an opportunity every day, guys. And if you don't see that opportunity every day, you're not paying attention. Negan asks, what do you think about Encash? I like Encash. I haven't had a chance to really dive into it as much as I want, though. But I will be making a review for it here in the near future, Negan. So stay tuned. I will have a review for you guys in the next couple weeks or so on Encash. But it's one of my sort of top on the list of things I want to review in the near soon future. So one thing I want to mention too is now that we see all the markets in the green, I really have to ask you guys, have you been doing your homework? Because this, I think, is where a lot of people fail. They don't have the right strategies going into it. And that is where, people kind of aren't able to take profits. They haven't set any kind of strategies. Well, I want to get into this cryptocurrency and I want to get 20% out of it, for example. And so that is something really to keep in mind, guys, or, use the tools at your advantage. Use your stop loss orders. If you want to follow something up, we'll do that. But you got to have your strategy set in, particularly for a lot of your altcoins. Obviously with Bitcoin, we're hodling that for a super long time. In fact, a lot of my investments are really long-term hodls. Things like, Bitcoin, obviously, but other things like PivX and Aeon and Neo, and these things haven't even started taking off yet. But there's a lot of money to be made, making those shorter-term gains on altcoins. So that's something to keep in mind. Somebody was asking, what interviews do you have coming up in the near-term future? Well, I know this week, for example, we're talking to the guys from, we're just going to check and let you know. I'm talking to the guys from Bitcoin Private this week. Oh, I'm going to be doing a collaboration video with Alex from Nugget News. I'm pretty excited about that. Next week, we got Theta, Digibyte. Finally talking to the guys from Digibyte. And a whole bunch more. Data Wallet, Proppy coming up in a couple weeks as well. A lot of interviews coming up for you guys, so. Hi, Lark. Enjoy watching your videos. Always learning. Couldn't find a video from you about Hashnest, comparing it with Hashflare. Which one is more profitable? Thanks in advance, says Raha Ram. The reason I've never made a video about Hashnest is because anytime I have looked at Hashnest, they've always been sold out. And so there's not much a point in making a review on something if you can't even go in and use it. So I know from time to time they do get a bit of hashing power back in, but then it just gets sold out straight away again. So that's why I haven't talked about Hashnest in particular. But otherwise, if you can get in, probably not bad. But, I haven't run the numbers because I've never been able to buy any. So there you go. Haven't done any cloud mining videos in a little while. Yeah, there's just not really a lot of stock in. I guess Hashflare continues to have a bit of stock, but what are you going to do? But I'd like to see a bit more of that kind of develop, I guess, overall. But I think that the appetite for cloud mining when the price was quite low, I think was a bit less for a lot of people, even though still money to be made. I think Hashflare's kind of situation too with that 1-year contract. It's like playing binaries. You might get some decent profit out of it, or you might lose a bit out of it. So especially with the Bitcoin price low, you're better off just going and buying Bitcoin at this particular time with someone like Hashflare. When Bitcoin's back to $20,000, the conversation I think would be a bit different. Mining is a waste when Bitcoin is going to moon. Genesis is sold out. That's the only one the majority trusts with the forever contract. Yeah, that's true, Mr. Harry Lasagna. The guys over at Genesis have really proven themselves over time. Zav T, Lark not crypto related, but are you vegan? I am vegan indeed. And that's, kind of a lifestyle, but, I feel like so many of the people that I met at like Token 2049 in Hong Kong, a lot of people were either, vegan or vegetarian or kind of, at least interested or very open to that kind of lifestyle, because I feel like the whole thing kind of goes together in some weird kind of way, that this is the technology of the future, the diets of the future, the way of thinking of the future. So things to think about. Anyway, let's continue on. Bitcoin payments are on the rise in the Baltics. I cannot wait to go back to the Baltics. It'd be really interesting to go there with a more crypto-minded perspective, because last time I was in the Baltics was a few years ago, and I wasn't really into that at this time, so it'd be really interesting to go back there and actually meet with a lot of these different projects and go to their offices, sit down with them. That would be really, really cool. Raha Ram, Lark, I think you mean Genesis Mining. You can buy gigahashes and megahashes in Hashnest, not sold out. Oh, well, there you go. You see, Raha, I haven't even looked at Hashnest in so long, because every time I checked, they were sold out. And so I just kind of stopped looking. So if they do have it back in stock, I'll have to go and have a look and check out the numbers for you guys then. But I haven't looked in so long, simply because they have been sold out for so long. So there you go. Talk to Vincent. He is having trouble going vegan. Lol, says Steve Taylor. That's funny. That's why I should talk to Vincent Briatore. He's got some good stuff out there. Okay. The key of Bitcoin adoption in third world countries. Now, I was reading through this article and it got me thinking a little bit, actually, because there's so many underserviced areas of the world where we still have huge populations of people that might really benefit from cryptocurrencies. In a country like Afghanistan, which is what this article is talking about, but it got me thinking about Africa and all these different places. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But the thing is that these countries could benefit so much from having something unifying like cryptocurrencies. Because in Afghanistan, they use 6-7 currencies quite interchangeably, a lot of US dollars and Pakistani money and different things like this. But you actually see that situation happening in quite a few different countries that are most in need of Bitcoin. Zimbabwe, for example, they use 7 or 8 different currencies there. And so the thing is with that, why not Bitcoin? Why not Bitcoin for everything? Use it as a settlement layer, price everything in whatever currency you want, but then the settlement could be in Bitcoin. So you take out this whole need for having a cash-run society. And the Dollar Vigilante actually was just in Zimbabwe, and I think he made a pretty cool video. It's short, it's like 10-15 minute video, but you guys should go check that out. It's just him on the ground in Zimbabwe talking about his experiences there, and that is some really interesting stuff. Jason says, read CZ's new tweet. We've got it here for you, man. We got it here for you. In the plans, my friend, in the plans. And this is really interesting. Binance is going to be partnering with a few different people and companies to help bring Uganda's economic transformation and youth employment through blockchain. That's really cool. That's really, really cool. All these little economies, it's not that they don't want to participate in the global system. It's not that they're too stupid. It's not any of that stuff, guys. It's a lack of tools. It's a lack of tools. Why do a lot of these countries lack tools? Well, people might come out with, yeah, okay, they're just not as clever as we are, or those people are savages, or whatever, BS things get brought out by people. But the reality is that the current economic system globally is a system of exploitation, guys. We all know this. And what people really need are tools. The old saying, give a man a Bitcoin, feed him for a day, teach a man how to write code, and feed him for a lifetime, something like that. It's about the same here. Mark saying cause is going to be huge soon. Banking sucks, says Riz. Yeah, banking does suck. When are you doing your next session on Skycoin? A lot of Skycoin enthusiasts out there. I'm going to be talking to Synth again here in I think we scheduled him for like June or something. So it would be just Synth this time, which would be cool. But I just love the idea that tools are going to be given to people who want to use the tools. And that is really, really, really important, guys. Because people out there are hungry for knowledge globally. The internet now gives you the ability, no matter where you are in the world, to learn coding, to learn programming, and to get in and get involved. And I think that is super important. People who were previously living in excluded areas of the global economy will no longer be excluded. And this is something I've always thought about the global economy, is that we have this system of global economy based on really post-colonial models of exploitation and all this BS, but that holds us back as a human civilization. Because think of all the, Einsteins in these third world countries who just simply didn't have the tools, and that's important. Eric asks, do you know why ontology dropped to number 49 rank? I do not. I might be a supply question, but I haven't actually seen that, so can't give a good comment on it. Sid asks, what about Unibright? I like Unibright, man. I reviewed them 2 weeks ago, I think. Unibright's cool. I love these ideas that are going to bring enterprise solutions forward. That's going to be really, really, really popular in blockchain. Bringing businesses on board, finding ways to save businesses money, guys, because that's what businesses want to do at the end of the day. a lot of businesses, they don't care about the things that I'm more of a fan of about blockchain technology, about it being able to, do great things and all these whatever, but they just want to save money at the end of the day. And they want to cut their bottom line. Richard says the Einsteins of the third world countries get brought to America. Yes and no, Richard. The Einsteins who get to school and get in, they might get exported to America or bought by America, whatever you want to call it. But so many of them simply never get the chance because their parents never got the chance. And so those kids grow up poor and disenfranchised. I'm about bringing even more people in. There'll be more Einsteins out there. You just got to give them the chance. You haven't mentioned Cardano or IOTA in a while, says Peter. I love Cardano and IOTA. And, Cardano's been such a great buying opportunity recently. It's been fantastic. I've been, backing up and loading up the wheelbarrow with Cardano recently. IOTA I've been chilling out on. I've got some IOTA that I've been hodling since, way back in the day. And I'm pretty happy with what I got on that right now. I'm really, waiting for them to drop some cool partnerships. I did just do an IOTA update video. Oh, when was that? About 6 weeks ago or something like that. So you can kind of check that out and see, what's the latest on IOTA. Vikrant, is Verge a scam? Oh, Vikrant, you guys know how I feel about the word scam on this channel. It's a really easy word to say, but it's a really hard thing to prove, guys. And is Verge a scam? No. Verge is not a scam. It's a cryptocurrency that functions in the way that, a cryptocurrency can function. But am I a big fan of Verge? No, I've never been a big fan of Verge. And when I see, all the kind of hype and stuff, and I don't know. It's just not for me, guys. I don't really like how they worked the whole Pornhub partnership. And like I said when the announcement came out, I like the idea for adoption. That's great. Okay. More people will be using Verge potentially. Remember, it's a payment option. It's not the only way you can pay on Pornhub. It's just, of course, across MindGeeks, different things. Pornhub's the most famous one of those. But it's not a question of, it's the only thing you can use to pay on those websites. It isn't. You can still use your credit card, right? If it was that, then that would be a different situation. But even then, yes, the porn industry has historically pushed a lot of developments in technology. That's cool. But it's not like we didn't have all the cryptocurrency and stuff before. They are just adopting it as a payment settlement layer. So that's a bit different, to be honest. And yeah. Verge, what are you going to do? Anyway, let's continue on, guys. Okay. Yesterday was Earth Day. Here's a good quote. You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. I think it's a fantastic quote. And you might be thinking, Lark, the environment, cryptocurrencies, what are you talking about? Yeah, well, the thing here is, guys, is that it's all connected. It's all connected, guys. And I like this quote because everything you do has an impact, right? If you choose to support corporate interests, well, that has an impact, right? If you choose to support decentralized interests, that has an impact. If you choose to walk to work instead of drive your car, that has an impact. These little things do add up. And I know a lot of people feel like, well, it's just, what's it really matter in my life? I don't care, etc., etc., etc. I'm just one person. What can I do? Actually, one person is the only way anything's ever got done in this world. You think about that. You think about that, guys. It's always been one person starts with an idea, or one person pushes it and gets some things to become popular, right? Yeah, Gandhi got the whole nation of India behind him. But Gandhi still had to be Gandhi. It was one guy making a big difference in the world. Bobby, what's up, man? Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party. So this is important. And now, how does this connect to cryptocurrencies? Well, I'm glad you guys asked, because everybody can make a difference with business. And your dollars have value, guys. They really, really do. And this is the important thing here, is that when you go and invest in cryptocurrencies, right? This is the important thing to keep in mind. What kind of a future do you want to see? Because a lot of cryptocurrencies are offering a really exciting future of a decentralized network of humanity coexisting on the planet together. And I think that is really, really powerful stuff, because essentially what you might see is a lot of people working together for things. Crypto numbnuts in the house. Crypto Rose, how's it going? Spencer says, Verge is not a scam, just not as good as the hype. Agreed. Now, if you have the chance to invest in these different cryptocurrency projects that are going to have really positive effect, well, why wouldn't you put your money where the good stuff is? This is why, I've never been a big fan of like Ripple, for example, because what's Ripple aim to do? And yeah, if you want to day trade that and make your bucks on it, okay, that's fine. I don't do it. But if you want to do it, that's cool. That's cool. Steve Taylor says, Lark, you're my favorite crypto YouTuber. Never any BS or shilling. Now tell us what's going to the moon. Everything, Steve. Thanks for the contribution, by the way. It's all about doing your homework, guys. There's a lot of stuff that's going on a big up right now. And so when you start to think about these different projects, and you can invest in them, guys, you can invest in these projects that'll make the world a better place, right? GroKo rules crypto. Why not WePower in the background instead of Power Ledger? GroKo, we're going to talk about all of the top cryptocurrency projects relating to this right now. I'm just starting with Power Ledger. WePower is number 2. So hang with me for a second here. But this is great, guys. We can decentralize everything to a massive extent. And, some people might think, well, why are you excited about Bitcoin or blockchain technology and all this stuff? Because it's really, really exciting, guys. That's it. Because it takes away the power from the centralized institutions, gives it back to you, gives it back to us, guys. We as a community, with the tools that we're being given, can do a lot of great things by ourselves. And yes, financial security is awesome. That's a great thing. But the amazing part is that you can have the financial gains and invest in projects which do positive things and have really positive outcomes, guys. So that is very, very important. Smarks Killed Wrestling asks, why don't you talk about Neblio in caps? Well, I gotta tell you guys, all the questions being asked, what do you think about Zcash? What do you think about this or that or this? There are so many coins, guys. There are so many coins out there. Yeah, Neblio is great. I love enterprise solutions for business. You guys know I do. We've talked about Neblio on the show before. I did a review a few months ago. Still a fan. But in the interest of, of the 1,500 cryptocurrencies we have right now, just go through everyone. That project, that's pretty good. That project, pretty good. That project, meh. But the thing is, guys, all these different projects, and we can talk about some different projects. We're talking about energy ones today, though. There's a lot of cool stuff out there, guys, and if I don't mention the cryptocurrency that you're particularly in love with at the moment, most of them I like because a lot of them are good projects being developed by good people. Some of them are crap. I'm not saying Neblio is, but I'm saying that some of them out there are. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, Power Ledger, currently $184 million market cap. Back in the big run, we saw it get up to $674 million, which is pretty gosh darn impressive. So this one is one of those great projects. It's an Australian project. They've got some awesome connections already. They've already got pilot cities working. Fremantle, which is a city just to the south of Perth in Australia, is running a pilot program for Power Ledger. We've got trading happening now or very soon they're going to be kicking off in Melbourne. They've signed a really big partnership with a company in the United States, giving people the options to use the Power Ledger platform to do peer-to-peer energy trading. And that's absolutely awesome, because not only does it lower the price, but it actually encourages more people to be their own power producers. And this is really important stuff, because you can actually, of course, have your power shut down at any time. But if you have these smaller decentralized networks, it's less likely to happen. I mean, take New Zealand, for example. We have a lot of earthquakes here. And because we have mostly centralized power sources, you might lose your power connection for days at a time, especially when a bad earthquake happens. And living in somewhere like Wellington, it's just a matter of when, not if. So that's really important to think about. But if you have this small decentralized network where you and your neighbors and everyone's kind of producing power, cool. That's great. Always have power that way. And of course, this incentivizes renewables, which is absolutely awesome. What's the main difference between Power Ledger and WePower? Asked Spencer. Good question, Spencer. We're talking about WePower next. Now, the big difference between Power Ledger and WePower, Power Ledger is more of a peer-to-peer marketplace, whereas WePower is more focused on investment in projects. So if I want to start a solar farm, for example, well, I can go to WePower and say, hey, I'm starting a solar farm. Usually this is actually even for existing businesses that say, hey, we already have a solar farm. We want to double our supply, right? And so you can go to WePower, tokenize it, and if you're a WePower holder, you can, of course, get in there early and get special advantages by being a WePower holder. You also get a kickback in the form of rewards for what happens on the WePower system as well. So the ideas behind them are different. Power Ledger is more, they also do investing and the incubation of these different kind of projects and stuff, but that's kind of the bigger difference between the two of them. But I like all the projects that are moving us in this direction. WePower, of course, only at $57 million at the moment. Now, that's not too bad, actually, considering that, basically they had their ICO and then very shortly thereafter, or right around the same time, we kind of entered this kind of rough bear market situation. But now the market cap, pretty decent. We're starting to see a bit of recovery on WePower, and I think that moving forward, we could see some very good momentum for WePower indeed. Lark, what do you think of Electroneum? Is it a scam? Why does it perform so badly? Asks Victor. Well, Electroneum isn't what I would call a scam, but it's just I've never been impressed by it. It's not a very impressive cryptocurrency to me, and I know that there were a lot of people out there going crazy about it. But it's never been something that, oh wow, Electroneum. It's just a pretty basic Kryptonite algorithm coin with a simulator for mining. There you go. Not to be impressed by, if you ask me, especially when you consider all the really robust, powerful cryptocurrencies out there, not just Bitcoin, but things like PivX or Monero, Litecoin. That's where to kind of keep an eye on, guys. Next up, we have Sun Contract. Sun Contract is one of those great little cryptocurrencies. Now, we had this up to 43 million at the top, approximately 44, 45 million. Sun Contract is a Slovenian project, and man, it just has not been able to get that kind of traction in the market with getting enough people interested. And I know there's a lot of Sun Contract supporters out there who are always reaching out to me and say, well, Lark, what about Sun Contract? Also a cool project. They've just launched their mainnet, but it's so just under the radar at the moment. $28 million market cap. I mean, compare that to Power Ledger. But Power Ledger, you got to remember, they had like an all-star team. People like Gemma and David are like awesome people to have at the head of your company. And Sun Contracts, I think, struggled a bit more to get their message out and to really get that big share of the market. But they are out there doing already, and I think that's really important. The mainnet has been launched, and so they've got all these different little partnerships as well. So it's one that I like what they're doing. I like where they're going. Something to, pay attention to in the space of positive crypto projects, right? They're working on renewable energies, which is awesome. Recent ICO project as well. So this has just come to the markets recently. So we don't have a lot of good data on sort of historical prices because it's quite new. Electrify Asia. Now, this is one that I talked about in my top 10 the other day. And Electrify Asia is a Singapore company, so an existing company in Singapore with about a 5 million Singapore annual revenue, if I remember correctly. And I think it's really, really cool. They are going to be working with the guys over at Omise Go. They've got one of the advisors from Omise Go as an advisor with Electrify Asia. So very, very cool. Again, great potential. They're focusing on Southeast Asia as well. And that is an area that is just primed for massive growth moving forward. ELEC just partnered up with TEPCO as well. Nice. Nice. Steve asks, do you have an opinion on gaming casino coins? If so, which is your favorite? I do not have an opinion on them, but it kind of, to take it back, I suppose, a little bit, Steve, to my kind of idea behind cryptocurrencies and all this stuff. Gaming and casino and gambling and all this stuff, it's just not my thing. Never been into gambling. You know, I haven't touched a video game in, 10 years or something like that, probably more. It's just not, I know there's a lot of people out there who see the potential for it, and yeah, it's kind of cool. I reviewed Funfair ages ago, and that's cool. I dig it. That's nice. But just not my thing. But, you know, of the ones that I've seen and actually had any time to look at, really is only Funfair. So I like what those guys are doing, but I couldn't give any good comparisons or anything like that because it's just not my bag. Renewable energy, though, that's my jazz, guys. I love it. Beans Bottom says Verge is gambling. Oh, Verge. Such a, you gotta give it to Verge. It's been a unifying factor for the cryptocurrency community, as most people just love to hate it. Oh, Verge. But I don't hate Verge, guys. I don't hate Verge. It's just I'm not particularly impressed with it's not as good as the hype makes it out to be, I think would be the best way to put it, as my brother said. Next up, we have Restart Energy. Currently about a $21 million market cap. So again, one of those ones that has kind of come through the bear market, and now we have the situation where we might see some big growth. I mean, it's grown 24% in the last day. That's pretty good. That's pretty good growth, but the whole market's doing that, so it's hard to say, well, it's a particular standout when you have even, Ethereum going up by 20% in the last 7 days. That is pretty gosh darn big for Ethereum. Now, Restart Energy, this is just another great project to go and have a little look at and think, is this one of the energy cryptocurrencies that might attract my investment? Now look, Power Ledger, I've got a lot of Power Ledger that I've been holding for ages since I think some of you guys will remember this. I think the first day it listed on Binance, it was like 10 cents or something. We just went in. I remember it's I think I had a live stream that night or something. Like, I just bought a bunch of Power Ledger. It's great, so cheap. And I'll be holding it for a while because I've got a lot of faith in Power Ledger as a company. I've talked to the people at the team, and they've given me only more faith in the project they're developing and the connections that they have. But if you look like, WePower, also some very smart, very connected dudes, really getting a lot of press recently as well. But Sun Contract, Electrify Asia, Restart Energy, and on and on and on. Solar bankers, we have Irene Energy, which is going to be coming up pretty soon on Stellar. So there's a lot of really cool projects here that you might want to look at because they could be up-and-comers in the future, particularly Electrify Asia. I think that's a very interesting one with the synergy they have going on there with Omise Go in particular. And Irene could be very interesting too because it's being launched on Stellar, but, time will tell about those. Fusion is getting overlooked, says Johnny Turbo. Look, the market cap, it's still crazy low. I agree, Johnny. I agree. I reviewed Fusion a few weeks ago. Could be a really cool project. It's got great ideas behind it. I mean, I think the drama between what's his name? Di Qian? Can't remember his name. The Fusion CEO guy, and with Patrick Dye over at Qtum, and with the VeChain guys, that's done nothing to help Fusion. And it's really unfortunate that there is that kind of drama there. Whatever those guys have on is being played out via Fusion. So that's quite unfortunate. But overall, though, fusion seems like it will be a quite good project in the long run. Music question. What are your top 3 favorite modern bands, groups, or artists? Oh, man. Put me on that. I don't have time to listen to music, man. No, actually, probably what do I listen to a lot? So, I mean, some old school stuff. I listen to U2 quite a bit, to be honest. But other stuff as well. I don't know. I usually just listen to, like, chilled out play tracks. Nothing too serious. I don't know. As far as bands, couldn't give you an exact answer, man. Okay. Now, this is an interesting thing for me, and I wanted to expand on a bit for you guys as well, because remember, we're talking about the environment here, guys. Earth Day was yesterday. I mean, for some of you guys, it still is Earth Day. Now, the interesting thing is that supply chain management. Yes, that very sexy supply chain management, logistics, yeah. This is actually a super interesting part of the environment equation, because the amount of energy that is wasted in supply chain is massive. Massive. Robo13 asks, what exactly do energy companies and blockchain have in common? Robo13, the main idea is that there's a few different things, and it depends on the energy company you're looking at, but a lot of it can be peer-to-peer trading. Energy companies as well can benefit from this massively, because you have to look at it from the perspective that energy companies, if they stay centralized and don't adapt to new platforms, new markets, the decentralization of power generation, they're going to get crushed under the bus, guys, long term. You have to actually look at the situation and say, hey, we've got to adapt. And so for the energy companies, they can be using something like WePower, for example, and that can help them as well. But if we can find efficiencies in the supply chain, that's massive. Imagine if we could just make this global supply chain 5% more efficient using blockchain technology. Just 5%. Think about the savings. And it goes back to Jane Goodall's quote at the start of our environment conversation. And that is because all this stuff has a cost, guys. Waste products that sit in a shipping yard and go bad, that has a cost. Or inefficient routing of a project, that has a cost because it has to go X amount more miles. And you might think, well, that's just one box that got routed to the wrong place. Yeah, but times that times a million boxes every single day. And you start to realize that we're just wasting resources, finite resources at the moment in particular, because we don't have a situation where all of our transport's powered by renewables. And we're wasting finite resources on a situation which we could simply be working on better efficiencies. And to not have those better efficiencies is basically criminal. Basically criminal. It's me, Boss Lady. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. Matthew says that's 5% more people without jobs. Everyone forgets they're going to be fired when crypto systems are in place. Matthew, great point, and I'm so glad that you brought that up. This is what's always brought out, is that everyone's going to lose their jobs. This is the talking point that keeps destructive industries in business forever. And you know what happens? Look at the classic example of the car and the horse. Yeah, the carriage business went out of business. All those guys who made carriages for horses and all the horse guys and all this stuff, yeah, they went out of business. That's cool. But they probably had crap jobs anyway. And then they, of course, were replaced by people in manufacturing jobs. But man, you have to realize we're moving very rapidly towards a situation of mass unemployment on a scale that the world has never seen before, because so much of everything is going to be done via automation. And it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge, man. Holding on to crap jobs is like a prison sentence, except that instead of looking at it as a prison sentence, you say, oh, please keep me in this prison, oh master. That's a crazy situation, man, when you really think about it. Crap jobs pay the bills. They do pay the bills. They do pay the bills. But let's imagine if in 10 or 20 years, if we can embrace the concepts of cryptocurrency and decentralization, and yeah, the Lambos and all that stuff, that's cool, guys. But if we're here and really talking about building communities and how decentralization can actually move us forward, there are so many ways. We've just been talking about them. Peer-to-peer power trading. Come on, put 20 solar panels on top of your roof. Get an investment. I mean, you can get solar zero in a lot of places. Put some power panels on your roof. Start selling it to your neighbors. Boom, you just got a passive income. Get yourself a masternode. Boom, you get 10, 20 bucks a day. You know, spend your time at home painting or something like this, and you will lead a better life. People, these crap jobs that pay bills, yeah, you're paying bills to the big companies which are charging you too much money because they're inefficient. You don't want to pay them your money, but you have to pay them your money because you don't have any choice right now. But if you had peer-to-peer energy trading, for an example, there's a lot that this applies to as well. But if you had peer-to-peer energy trading, your costs would be dramatically lower because you wouldn't need all those people sitting in the offices necessarily, a lot less of those people sitting around in offices. So this is important stuff, guys. This is the economy of the future, and it's coming whether you want it to or not. And this is what it comes down to, is that it's going to happen, and instead of holding on for dear life for that situation that you don't really want to be in anyway, because I always take it back to the child. If you ask a child when they're 5, 6 years old and you say, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? They don't say, I want to be an accountant. I want to work in customer service. Or any of these other things that we actually, when we become adults, we say, yeah, being an accountant, that's the mature choice to make. But you gave up on your dreams. And if we have a situation 20, 30, 40, 50 years, it's going to take a while, guys. Transitions always do. But we can do better as a human society. And it's all about steps, guys. Efficiency is a step. Yeah, those people might lose their jobs. They need to adapt. And this is going to happen on a big scale globally, guys, as the economy transitions into the high-tech economy of the future. Because to an extent, right now we have a situation where we have the technological tools to move us into the future, and we just have to actually take those on board. Link says, screw humanity, I want a Lambo. If that's true, that's cool. You can get your Lambo by investing in things that'll move humanity forward. See, it's a win-win, man. It's a win-win. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are just very self-interested and say, you know what, all I want to do is make the money. I love making the money too, guys. Money's great. But you know what? You can make money and do good things. It's crazy. It's crazy. But the reality is that we have a world right now where people look at, how can I make money? And screw everybody. I mean, the fact that the weapons industry is so big, it's crazy. We don't need to be killing each other anymore. That's wild. But we do. Not everybody has the ability to adapt. A lot of dum-dums in the world, says Richard. Sometimes people just have to adapt, though, Richard. And sometimes people won't, and they'll continue out their lives saying, I just wasn't able to adapt to this. But look at industries that just revolutionized overnight. I mean, when was the last time any of you guys bought a CD? That was a whole industry. I know there's probably still a couple of people out there making CDs. Gosh, I probably haven't bought a CD since like, I don't know, like 2001, 2002, something like that. Where industries get replaced, guys. And people will not adapt. That's true. And that's a sad day for them. But just because somebody is unwilling to change or unwilling to adapt, I'm not going to let those people take down the whole frickin' world with them, because it just doesn't make any sense. Okay. Online billing says people have gone back to records. That's true. That's true. That's actually that's actually an interesting situation for some people, of course. I know it's become quite a cool thing to be collecting records and things like that, and the sound quality is different, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, next one up though, INS ecosystem. Now, this is a cool project on a lot of levels, and if it's not INS ecosystem that does something about this, somebody else will, and other companies will. Because I want you guys to think for a minute. Right now, we have a situation where approximately a third of the food that is produced is thrown away into the bin, right? And if you think that one of the global leaders for pushing climate change is animal agriculture, and look, I'm not even saying everyone run out and go vegan and all that stuff. That's the choice I made in my life. But if we could at least say, hey, 33% inefficiency is pretty gosh darn bad. Maybe we could do better with that. Maybe we could have more efficient systems going on where a third of the animals that we're growing and, using for their products don't need to be grown because we're simply wasting it in the inefficiency of the system. That's a pretty crazy situation, guys. And of course, a situation that we can help to solve by putting our money in the right places. You want a Lamborghini? Rock and roll. Make sure you get one with an electric engine, because they'll probably be the next thing that Lamborghini will come out with, if they haven't already, of course. So, Richard Smith, have you tried an Impossible Burger yet? Yeah, man, they're amazing. They're amazing. I tried them when I was in the States last, and I was blown away about how good the Impossible Burger was. That was just next level. And when you have that, when you have the Impossible Burger and you have, vegan cheese and all this stuff, it makes you start to realize that this overall is part of the old economy. And that's an important thing to keep in mind, guys. Crypto Nova says the Impossible Burger is disgusting. Well, everyone is welcome to their opinion. But the reality is that the economies are changing, guys. And like I said, I'm not here trying to preach veganism to you guys or anything like that, but I'm just saying that the system that we have, even if we kept that exact same system that we have today, 33% inefficiency, or somewhere approximately around there, is beyond unacceptable and is a massive waste. And so any blockchain related project that can help with that, I am all about it. I am all about it, guys. Foggers M. Noggers, tell us more about INS. Well, one thing about INS, if you guys haven't looked into it at all, they are trying to replace the middleman, which is essentially the supermarkets. And yeah, there will always be a place for people to walk down the street and get their groceries, but as more and more shopping goes online, you don't actually really need to have so many supermarkets set up. Because think about what a supermarket takes. You have to have full shelves all the time, because for some reason when you walk in, you see the last 2 or 3 apples in there, you go, oh, those must be the bad apples, I don't want them. And so they have to keep a full shelf of apples all the time. And so when you come in to buy your apples, you need to have full, perfect looking apples as well. No spots on my apples, sir. Those all get thrown away, or of course made into applesauce or something perhaps, but massive inefficiencies in the system, guys. And, increasing efficiency may not sound like a sexy solution to working out how to make the world a better place and to help the environment, but it really is, guys. Every little bit counts. I think that's an important thing to remember. Okay. By the way, the guys over at INS have just partnered with the Growth Challenge brand Strong Roots. So nice to see them getting a new partnership that just happened on the 21st of April. So pretty cool stuff. There's a picture of a nice cow for you guys as well. Now, this may be a farther reach down the environment path for you guys, but I want to go into this a little bit as well. Horizon State has recently signed a partnership with Nahdlatul Ulama to empower social reform in Indonesia. Social reform is very, very interesting. Bobo Deluxe says, will INS make grocery home delivery cheap? At the moment, it's pretty much 30% more expensive than shopping online for groceries. That is what they are aiming to do, Bobo. That is what they're aiming to do. They're aiming to make it cheaper for you by connecting you directly with the suppliers. Look, they got a lot of competition in that space. That's cool. But that is their value proposition. They want to make it cheaper and more efficient. So we'll see if they can deliver. They're still in the early stage, but they've got a lot of great partnerships. Now, social reform, empowering communities. What the heck does that have to do with the environment? Remember, we're talking about the environment because yesterday was Earth Day, guys. If you can empower people and empower them in their communities, that actually becomes really powerful, guys. If people can feel that their voice is heard in their communities, then they, of course, and sometimes people will make bad decisions that go against the environment. But you could look at a situation like what's happened in Sumatra, because this is very telling of why Horizon State is such an important project and why Horizon State has probably chosen to work in Sumatra or had that synergy happen, because it actually gives them such a good potential. In Sumatra, you've had a lot of situations where big firms have come in, they cut down the trees illegally, they burn the forests illegally, which of course leads to loss of species. The rainforests are the biggest lungs to absorb all of that pollution being put in the air. And why was this allowed to happen? Because so many of these people living in Sumatra, a lot of them were unempowered. They weren't able to really have their rights and voices heard. And also, it's really difficult to prove who owns what land. Just because your family or communities live there for a long time doesn't matter to a lot of people. If you could have blockchain registries, that becomes a very different situation if you can prove who owns what land. Because a situation like happened in Sumatra, basically Indonesia, one of the world's most corrupt countries, you have business interests that go to the politicians and say, we want to cut down that forest and replace it with a palm oil farm. Politician says, well, that appears to be owned by this community. Big pile of money is pushed across the table. He says, what community? I don't know about any community. There's no proof of their land registry. And then you get the situation where the deforestation on Sumatra has consumed the majority of the island, which of course only accelerates all of these different things that we're talking about, guys. It's one of the most biodiverse places in the world. Ramon asks, if I own land right now, could I put it on the blockchain? Yes, you could, Ramon. There's a few different projects that are working on that right now. I know that NEM has got a few different projects that are working on that as well. Online billings, Indonesia, one of the world's most corrupt countries, does it top the USA? Well, you see, online billings, the problem is that in the USA, they legalized corruption. So they don't count as being one of the most corrupt countries. It's a very clever strategy. Like, hey, it's illegal to bribe politicians. Well, let's just make it legal, and then we won't be corrupt anymore. That's great. All right, cool. Politicians, they're funny guys, but you can't trust them because they're people, and people are influenced by money, guys. Yeah, Proppy as well. Proppy will be putting land titles on the blockchain. I know that the guys at NEM, they were talking to a project, a Maori group here in New Zealand that wants to actually bring land rights to the blockchain on the NEM blockchain. So definitely watch out for that. David Hay in Colombia, good work, Case. Yeah, I like what David Hay's doing. So true, the biggest criminals are the ones making and enforcing the laws. Amen. Amen, guys. And this is the problem, is that the people in power are mostly interested in staying in power and making money. And that is highly, highly problematic for the rest of human society. And that is, of course, why decentralization is so exciting, is you give the power back to the regular people. You can verify things. It's really hard to take a case to court saying, hey, that corporation came in and stole my community's land. If you can't prove it, and they've got the money, they've got the lawyers, they got the politician on their side, it's really, really hard. Yes, David Hay is doing his thing. Smoke weed every day. You guys, I love it. I love the comment section. There's a picture. Some dudes walking around in the rainforest somewhere. Got ahead of myself, but I love the idea nevertheless. Now, final thoughts for the day. Bitcoin Energy Consumption Index. Now, it has been going up recently, and I know this has a lot of people worried, and this has been a pretty common talking point for people who come out against Bitcoin and say, well, yeah, but it's using up all this energy, guys, and therefore it's really bad. And of course, the thing is, hasta la blockchain siempre, says Alberto. Welcome to the chat, man. The thing with that is that it depends on what energy is being used to power Bitcoin. Now, this is something that you cannot hide from in the conversation. Situations like this: Texas oil producers could channel excess gas into Bitcoin mining operations. It's bad and it's good. And let me tell you why. I don't know if any of you guys have ever actually seen oil fields, but it's a pretty impressive sight. You have all these wells, and at the top, the natural gas, a lot of the times, is either simply too difficult to capture or is just looked at as not necessarily economically viable, and so it actually gets burnt off the top. I remember flying over the Middle East at night, and you can look down and you just see all these little dots of fire all over the place. Well, those are the oil fields. And they're, of course, burning the natural gas at the top. And so what these guys are saying, well, instead of maybe burning up that natural gas, why don't we just capture it and, run Bitcoin mining facilities? As like I said, it's a double-edged sword. Like, they're going to burn it anyway, so I guess you may as well power some Bitcoin machines. But let's move past this outdated fuel technology that we have. I'm more convinced by people like Powerledger and WePower and what they're doing. That being said, Richard Smith, Lark, you have so much faith in blockchain being a positive influence. Sometimes I worry it's more likely to turn Orwellian. Richard Smith, one should always be vigilant. The funny thing is that I feel like right now we are living in the Orwellian world. I mean, goodness gracious. Just think about it for a second. Only recently, the United States attacked Syria for peace. They wanted to have peace, or they attacked because, well, you guys killed somebody with something that we disapprove of, so we're going to come and kill people with weapons that we do approve of. That sounds like the Orwellian world to me. I feel like we're already living it. War is peace, right? Bitcoin, well, blockchain technology can be used for evil. Sure, you could register bullets on the blockchain, right? You could register slaves on the blockchain. You could use blockchain as a weapon in all kinds of ways, right? But I feel that if you can give people the tools to take care of themselves, people are waking up more and more all the time. And I know it's really easy to get pessimistic. It's really easy to get cynical when you look around and you see what's going on. But you got to try and keep the faith. You got to try and at least be a little bit optimistic, because every day there are people out there doing good things, and that's important to remember. Now, back to the Foggers. Register slaves. Am I already registered? We're all registered, man. We're all registered down here. Oh, man. It's me, Boss Lady, says vegans and vegetarians get a lot of shite, but I've seen a lot of people converting after learning some truths about where their food comes from. That would be an interesting thing, It's me, Boss Lady, if you, when you picked up a whatever it might be at the store, and you actually get the full trace back of your product and where it came from and all the stuff. That's a different story, though. We'll finish up on the energy consumption of Bitcoin here for you guys. Now, while this story about Texas has me kind of back and forth, yes, What the Health is a great documentary as well. It's me, Boss Lady. The one thing that you have to keep in mind is that actually a lot of Bitcoin miners are actually flocking to the areas where there's cheap renewable energy, which is a good thing. So anytime that they come out and say, by the way, Bitcoin is destroying the environment and it's going to destroy the global energy sector, all this stuff that they bring out in the mainstream media, a lot of it's BS. Yes, there's the occasional story of, well, we're going to do some coal-powered Bitcoin and all this stuff, and not everybody who's doing it is doing positive things, but most of the companies are moving to areas like in Iceland, where they have cheap thermal power, Sweden, where they have cheap hydro. They're moving to places like Maine or Washington State or Montana, where again they have cheap, underutilized hydro. I gotta say that, underutilized. That's why Central Russia has become so popular, because the Soviets built all these infrastructure projects that have been underutilized, and so there's all this cheap power out there. Too Late says mining would replace heaters. Very well could be. Is it possible Hashflare is another Ponzi scheme? Asks Foggers M. Noggers. Hey, look, anything is possible in crypto. You guys gotta keep that real. But I don't think that Hashflare is a Ponzi scheme. Look, they've been working really hard recently to show that they've got proof of facilities and all these different things, going out and saying, guys, hey, look, here's us in our facility. They've been around for quite a time. Just because they've been around doesn't mean that they are, of course, not a Ponzi scheme. But I would really feel like if they were a Ponzi scheme, that the situation would have come undone during the recent bear market. So I don't think that Hashflare is a Ponzi scheme. Are they the best cloud mining company? No. Genesis Mining is definitely better than them. And it's better because they've been more transparent, they've been more reliable, all these different things. They've been more responsive to their customers' demands. Hashflare, for example, keeping the minimum withdrawal very high and all this has been a real problem for people. A real problem. And I think it doesn't do anything to help their reputation in the long term. So that's my thoughts on it. I've still got some money invested over at Hashflare. They're an okay company. Genesis is definitely the better cloud mining solution, though. But they're sold out. They're sold out at the moment. So what are you going to do? Chuck A says, Hashflare has paid me for 8 months straight. Yep, that's it. They've never missed payment with me. But the Bitcoin difficulty is a serious problem because for small miners getting in, you got to remember, was it GMO internet in Japan just dropped $250 million in the other day, and DMM's gonna also be dropping in a few $100 million. Samsung's getting in. Like the face of the Bitcoin mining industry is gonna change big time, guys, big time. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Genesis missed payments quite a bit, says Jay Parr. It's actually interesting. I got an email from Genesis Mining the other day from like a support ticket that I opened up back in September or something like that. But they got back to me, to be fair to them, but it's like 6 months later, which is crazy. Anyway, guys. Foggers M. Noggers said, better off to hodl good projects for same or better return than Hashflare offers. That's the thing about cloud mining, guys, is that I would never say invest like all your money into cloud mining. I like having a little bit of money invested in cloud mining, and when Genesis Mining comes back, I'll probably get some more contracts with them. But I'm not going to go dump all my money into it. A little bit, I like that residual income. I get a little bit of Bitcoin coming in every day. It's just another revenue stream. But one of the big things is go out there and find cool projects. Find projects you really like and hodl the heck out of them. That's where a lot of the returns come in, guys. Anyway. That is all from the Crypto Lurk for today, guys. We're going to wrap the stream up there. It has been super awesome having all you guys here in the chat today, asking awesome questions, helping each other out, chatting to each other. It's always a great, great time, guys. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.